City Council meeting. I now call this meeting to order. We would now have a pledge of allegiance and invocation, should she please, from Councilwoman Coonrod. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, Heavenly Father, today a lot of decisions is going to be made in this room, and let those be the right reasons for the right cause for everybody involved. Let's pray for this council, because this is a hard job to do. There's a lot of things that's got to be made for everybody in this city. So, oh Lord, please let them make the right decision to impact this city in a great and beautiful way. And in your name, I pray for all the people that need a prayer today, the sick, the shut in, the old. There's anybody that needs that prayer. In your name, I pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Harris. Yes. Now I ask for a motion to approve the minutes. It's been moved and properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye. Opposers, nay. Motion carries. There will be no special presentations today. So now, Madam Clerk, let's move into ordinance on final reading 5A.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code Part 2 by adding a new Chapter 11, Article 21, Downtown Central Business Improvement District, Downtown CBID, Sections 11.525 through 11.534.
Now, at this time, we will move into the public hearings to discuss the matter of the Central Business Improvement District. Mr. City Attorney, would you please read the rules?
Yes, sir. The City Council has announced changes which have been published for this meeting, for this public hearing on the Central Business Improvement District. The business owners in the zone will be allowed to speak at the public hearing in addition to any state-mandated property owners. State-mandated property owners have at least the first opportunity. We'll try to make sure we can get to everybody within the time allowed. The council will allow a total of 60 minutes for the public hearing, with 30 minutes for each side, support and opposition. There have already been sign-up sheets outside of the city council chambers, and those wishing to speak have to sign up before the beginning of the 6 p.m. meeting, and each speaker will get up to 3 minutes at this time. So based upon that, do we have a sign-up sheet, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay. And do you have copies, I guess, for all the council members?
No, we're fine. We're
Okay,
going to
all
rely
right.
on the
Okay.
Madam Clerk to
And I guess the
take care of
clerk
that
can
part.
call how you want to do it. You want to have support or opposition first?
We will do opposition first.
Okay.
We may proceed, Madam Clerk.
Paul E. Smith.
Paul E. Smith. Mr. Smith.
My name is Paul Smith. I'm a board member, and our board owns the property on Cherry Street. Our tax number is 0011837. Our property is probably the oldest taxable property that's consistently been in existence here since the 1800s. I would like to point out to you that we've never failed to get a tax bill. We have, however, not received any information on this transaction up until today. Our board meeting was meeting last night, and we were concerned about the fact that we had not been duly informed concerning this. Our organization has contributed millions of dollars to various institutions that include medical research, Erlanger Handicap, iBank, Salvation Army, and many others. Our stance is that we never come publicly. This is the only second time I believe our board has appeared before the City Council because many of our members want to give quietly and without notoriety. We were concerned about this. We felt like that this transaction was not suitable or equitable. It is competitive in our ability to raise funds to donate to the needy. The leadership decisions in raising donations for the worthy in our community and around the country are made more difficult for us. We are at the present building and have built at 355 West 21st Street. We were completing it last night, a $3 to $5 million building and parking facility to be used not only by civic organizations, but others who are 501Cs and that contribute to the needy. We are opposed to this bill being passed. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk?
Darren Wright.
Yes. Oh, okay, well, yeah, would you do that?
Yes, Darren Wright,
Okay.
831 Chestnut Street.
Sure. And property owner or business owner?
That is a business owner.
Okay. Well, can we just have one of you, please?
Can she not stand by me? I will
Oh.
be the only speaker.
Okay, that'll be fine.
Okay. Darren Wright, owner of Aaliyah Blake. I am here today to oppose the bid, not because, like my opposition, I stand to gain $1 million with no government oversight, but because I strongly believe this will harm our city. In a fight for democracy, where business owners must take a stand against landlords, there are many who are justifiably afraid to speak out. These business owners in the district have spoken to me in confidence, telling me that they don't feel they can take a stand. They have reason to feel that way, as I've already had the veiled threats against my business spoken to me, but I can't be silent. In a world where there are those who only operate for financial gain, there must be someone willing to say no to the theft of democracy, for that is what we are speaking of today. I care about the city, and I care about small business, those that exist today and those that are yet to come. When we speak of the Business Improvement District, what is not said is the truth. The board for the bid, once formed, will be the death of the voice of the majority. In the majority's place will be the voice of the wealthy, where more votes are awarded to those who have the most money and power in the district, leaving tenants and business owners a voiceless token to placate the masses and pretend we're not just puppets in the unification of power in Chattanooga. I don't blame them. It's tempting to want something set up to benefit you and only you. I am here to ask that we return to reason. This ordinance already deemed unacceptable by Chattanoogans. Oglesby, Byrd, and Mitchell pushed it back in the forefront in direct violation to Tennessee Code Title 7, Chapter 84, Part 5, 784, 516, Section C, which leaves taxpayers to foot the bill for the inevitable legal challenges that will come from lawyers who are ready to bring light to the city attorney's failure to adhere to the law of the bid in order to push this through. Do not sentence Chattanooga to a 10-year democratic death where the majority will never again matter in our city center. If democracy doesn't matter in the heart of Chattanooga, where will it matter? The bid will cost us not just from the inevitable legal challenges it will face if it passes, but also the trust of the people who voted for you to represent all of us. If these landowners in River City truly wish for less litter, more security, and more flowers, let them work with the city to ensure this happens. River City has managed to bring positive change to Chattanooga without taxpayer money, and I see no reason why we should alter this precedent by imposing penalties on businesses who operate in the area. I ask, do not impose more barriers to entry for businesses and less democracy and integrity in your political position. Remind people why Chattanooga is different and better than Knoxville or Nashville or any other city. Remind people that politicians can still stand for the people and stand for the majority, even when the easy route is to agree with the affluent.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Madam Clerk. Thanks.
Aaliyah Wright, Concierge Office Suites.
Hello, I'm speaking on behalf of Denise Reed of the Concierge Office Suites, and I'm going to keep this short and leave my time for someone else. Are you a business owner? Are you a property owner? Are these the qualifying factors for participating in government now? Because out front, that's what they were asking. An unelected, unrepresentative board, one weighted in favor of property owners, but not those who will pay this tax or experience the inevitable changes as a result. billed as the wealthy elite making a city for themselves. Representation matters. Chattanooga should be different. What happened to government for the people, by the people? Or do only some people matter? I believe that Chattanooga should be for all Chattanoogans and shouldn't take away the borrowing of power of Chattanooga for an area that is already safer and more beautiful than most of the city, including where I personally live, just to say. I urge you to vote no for this unelected and undemocratic board. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk?
Rose Cox, 818 Georgia Avenue.
Okay.
Hi, I'm with the Palace Theater at 818 Georgia Avenue. First, I'd like to say that I'm not against a bid. I'm against the way this is collected and organized. I think that we need to take a step back and we need to revise the things that are in this bid that make it unconstitutional and inhumane in some ways that are unseen to the naked eye because there's not enough verbiage to protect the people that are protected by the US government, that are protected under the laws that the government has given us to operate our cities in. So the first thing that I would like to ask is that everyone that is against this bid, if you would raise your hand. I see about 40% in this room. The other percentage of people that are in here are going to be benefiting from this bid. Everyone in here is human. Everyone in here just wants to make a living. We are asking for the right to have a voice as business owners in the way that we make a living in this city. That's all we want. And the points that matter in this no bid that we're asking for is that people see that there's an unelected board. It's going to be monitoring the bid tax fund distribution with no government oversight. The board votes are determined by value of property owned, muting all opposing votes. So yes, the people in here that are for the bid, if you have not read everything about the board and you're just here supporting your friends and supporting what you think is right, you might want to go back and read about that because your voice won't matter if you only own a small amount of property in town. Your voice won't matter. Your voice will be muted by all the opposing votes with larger quantities of property. Those with political wealth capital control that board. Then they're talking about privatized self-governed security, which could, in small and in short, be inhumane to people who are just traveling through. There could be people wanting to hold up, no bid signs on the street corner, and we could get moved along because there's no rules. So I urge you to reconsider the rules of this bid, not to take it off the table, but take it back for that 365 days that it was supposed to be tabled and bring it back later with more information. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Charles Patey, property owner, 19 through 35 Patton Parkway.
Thank you.
Thank you. You all know how I feel about this because I've spoken twice about it at previous occasions. One of the things that concerns me, and the board says nothing in the ordinance on how the board is going to come into existence as far as who's going to be on the initial board. My reading of the statute, the state law states that the city municipality is to appoint those people. That's left open. There's nothing in the ordinance that indicates who is going to be on this board, the people who are going to fill the spots. Yes, it says a landowner or a business owner, et cetera, but it does not say who these individuals are, and I believe that the council is the one that's required to make that appointment. The second thing I want to address is the board itself, and there's a lot of things that the board can do. The
a lot of powers that's given over to it, but one part of it in the state law that it's also in the ordinance, it says that the board can manage, control, and supervise all the business and affairs of the district. That, to me, is very chilling, that a private board is going to tell businesses, private businesses, what they can do, control them, and supervise them. Because that's what the statute says, and that's what the ordinance says. And this, to me, is not in keeping with the democratic process. If you're a property owner, you, the property owner, are required to take care of your property. If you don't, then the city can come in and do certain things to make you do that. It happens all the time. But now this board can come in and dictate what you do with your property. And I wouldn't want to be on the board because I wouldn't want to tell somebody what they can and can't do with their property. I think it's a slippery slope we're going down by having this board. I think that it is brought back before the 365 days, which was required under the statute, my reading of it. And I don't think that it is proper at this point, and it needs a lot more review before it should come back before this body. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk?
William Wise, property owner, 120 Market, 409 Market.
My name is William Wise. I own 3 properties included in the proposed bid boundary. I am protesting against being included in the bid boundary. The first property located at 120 Market Street could be opted out by changing the boundary line as it's located at the edge of the boundary. The properties at 401 and 405 Market Street, both vacant at this time, were not allowed to be opted out because they were said to be located in an island or donut hole. Nonprofits and foundations will have the right to go before the River City Board and ask to opt out. If allowed, this will create the same island or donut hole if bid passes. I'm not allowed to go to the River City Board and ask for the same privilege. I mentioned this to the city attorney, Mr. Noblet. He said it was a good point. Why should I be treated differently as a property owner? Even if a proposed amendment allows me to try to opt out, I still have to go to a self-appointed River City Board to show how the fees create a hardship for me in getting my vacant properties leased. My family's worked hard all their lives to attain these properties, and to be included in the bid boundary and charged an extra fee is outrageous to me. All I hear is make sure the city of Chattanooga has no repercussions or obligations from the passage of bid. The council wants to be fair to their constituents. If bid is so great, what is the fear and reason for all these protection concerning bid? I've been a constituent and a resident and a business owner in Chattanooga all my life. What about my rights as a property owner? Why is the passage of bids so compelling to the council? The city council chairman, a member of the River City Board, brought back a failed bid passage as a resolution only a week after it failed. This appears to be a complete conflict of interest and fairness. Chairman Oglesby should recuse himself from the vote. The services that River City proposes to provide are services that should be covered by the property taxes paid to the city of Chattanooga. If bid is passed, River City is going to receive a substantial management fee. An added fee is an added burden to property owners, which makes the properties more difficult to lease. I would like to be allowed to opt out if the bid proposal passes. Thank you for your cooperation.
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Peter Stein, and the last name is spelled Steyn. Second Presbyterian Church.
Yes, Peter Stein, excuse me. I'm an elder with Second Presbyterian Church. We see this, excuse me, this proposal is consisting of two parts. One is being a good steward of our property as it affects the appearance of our city. And the second is being a good ambassador, which reflects on how people feel about our city. And I'd like to think our church does that already. Regarding being a good steward, I've been on property and grounds with this church for a number of years, and I can assure you that we spend a lot of time and effort power washing, tending our gardens, looking after our parking lot, and making sure the place is clean. As far as being a good ambassador, if we find somebody on our stoop come Sunday morning, we don't call the police. We call a benevolent organization to help them. That's being a good ambassador, trying to help people here where they lay on our streets already. And we operate on a zero-sum budget, meaning probably 80% of our budget is used in salaries and property management. Our missions budget is about 10% of our total budget. That's our most flexible portion of our budget. If this bill passes, our shelter will suffer, community kitchen will get less money, UTC campus ministry will receive less money, Metropolitan Ministries, and a number of other benevolent organizations that we are part of. And so, if this proposal passes here, we are going to request relief from participating in this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stein. Madam Clerk?
Mindy Benton, business owner, 828 Georgia Avenue.
I don't have a speech prepared for you, so I'm here to speak from the heart. I'm a small business owner. I've had my business in the volunteer building for about 8 years now. Over the last year, we suffered tremendous loss due to construction of Miller Park. We're about to have Patton Parkway closed down for a year or more, let's face it. And then I get told, well, we're going to do this great thing and we're going to charge you even more money to clean up the streets. Well, I pay taxes, and I'm pretty sure Public Works is supposed to clean up the streets. We're going to market the area. I'm a chamber member. I'm pretty sure the Chattanooga Area Chamber of Commerce is supposed to be promoting Chattanooga, as well as the CVB. We've got Parks and Rec. They handle all the programming in the parks and things. I'm not saying I don't want our city to be beautiful. Of course I want our city to be beautiful. Of course I want our city to be safe. Of course that will benefit my business if that happens. But what I'm asking is, who gets to make these decisions? Who gets a word? Who gets a say? As a business owner, I want a seat at the table. I want to know that me and my friends who own these small businesses are represented, and that we get some idea of the say. And, I did a little research. I was trying to figure out what this was all about. And when I looked for pros and cons, of course they said beautification and it brings more people in, and yes, we all want that. But it also talks about political conflict. Local governments that lower their services within the area because suddenly they don't have to worry as much about trash pickup because these bid people are coming in doing it. We're talking about a dangerous concentration of private power in public spaces. We're talking about too much power with no control, accountability, or review. We just want a seat at the table. I'm asking you not to do away with bid, to postpone this and give us a seat at that table, please.
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Pierre Dabir, last name is D-A-B-I-R, property owner, 704 Market Street.
Just as a time check, we have 9 minutes left. Whatever your pleasure is, sir, you have 3 minutes to use as you please.
Hello, my name is Pierre Dabbit, and I'm not going to say that I'm as eloquent as the people that came before me, but hopefully I can shed a light on a perspective that hasn't been shared. I know I'm young, but we've been downtown for 45 years. I remember my grandfather opening in '75 at George Yeldsman's warehouse on 704 Market Street. We've been the property owners not at 704, just at 704, but also at 805 Market Street as well for almost 30 years. I remember downtown. I remember it being a booming, bustling area downtown where all the businesses and everybody wanted to be here back in the 70s and early 80s. I remember when downtown completely died in the 90s. I remember when there was a time nobody wanted to step foot downtown, but we stayed. We didn't run, we didn't go anywhere. We stayed, we fought, we struggled, we scratched out a living. I remember when in the early 2000s when everything started coming back. River City Group started doing wonderful things downtown and bringing people back downtown. There's no denying that River City Group has done great things. But the fact that we're trying to make it mandatory to do good things is no longer making it a good thing. The way the bid stands at now, there's not enough clarification on what is going to be done, how it's going to be done, and who's going to be able to oversee everything that's going to be done. And I feel that to have a board to dictate and rule and regulate a bunch of business owners who clock into their businesses every day, day in and day out, 6, 7 days a week, to tell them what they can do with their businesses and their properties is not a fair shake. I believe that it's lacking perspective, and honestly, the way the bid stands now, I feel, is legalized extortion. Because you're making people pay into things without seeing the exact benefit and making it mandatory. We all want the same thing. We all want a beautiful downtown area. We all want Chattanooga to be beautiful, and we all want to do business and make a living. Some of us make better livings than others. There's no denying that. But it should be a fair and equal opportunity across the board. And the way it stands now, you're giving way too much oversight and regulatory power to people that don't share the same perspective and share the same experiences. And that has been a problem in Chattanooga, especially downtown Chattanooga, for the last 40 years. Like I said, I may be young, but I remember how it used to be, and I like to see where it goes. But the way it stands now, I'm not liking it, because it's not fair and it's not inclusive. And if Chattanooga is one thing, it is inclusive. It's one of the most progressive cities in the South, and I'd like it to stay that way. So, yeah, and things need to be done to make it better, for sure. There are good things about this bid, and there are bad things about this bid. River City Group does good, they also do some bad. Currently, I'm dealing with a problem River City Group did behind our building right now that never got resolved. So now you're asking me to pay in as a business and property owner for them to go do it to somebody else. With no regulatory power and oversight, I can't let that happen, and I can't stand for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, with that being said, we will have enough time for two more participants.
Bill Wilkerson, property owner, 1001 Carter Street.
Hi, my name is Bill Wilkerson, or William Wilkerson. I'm an architect. I'm president of Gateway Professional Building, and we've only been in the same building for 53 years instead of over 100 like Mr. Smith was. And I look around this room and I see friends, I see former clients, I see potential clients that are all friends of mine are for this bid, and I really struggled about coming. Who am I going to make angry? Who am I going to aggravate by saying what I have to say? But I feel like the basic idea is not bad, but the process has just been terrible. We've been there. I've been president of this corporation for 15 years. Nobody in our corporation was contacted about this. Nobody in our corporation was surveyed. Now, you can think what you want, but what that makes me think is there was a little bit of cherry picking about the way the survey was done. And so I think you've got to go back and take a second look. It would be a lot better to have a vote rather than a survey. So I'm going to leave it at that. Again, I beg off to my good friends that I know are on the other side, but that's just where my heart is.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, this will be our final one.
David Kent, property owner, 707 Georgia Avenue.
I'm one of the owners of the Flatiron Building, and we are against this. We think it's just another tax for something that the city should already be doing, or the tourism board, and it's only gonna affect the downtown area, and we are on the edge of that. We are across from Memorial Auditorium, and we should be pulled out of this at this time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Well, according to state law, and I know that's kind of a bad phrase right now, but we have to comply as much as possible. Are there any property owners that are in opposition that haven't already spoken? Okay, we have that 1, 2. Would you like to speak? Would you like to speak? All right, well, come forward, please. 2.
I'm on the tail end of all of life. I've been picking up the garbage. I told you that before. I've been painting over the graffiti. We take care of Patton Parkway, but we're not popular. People don't like our colors. They don't like our tenants. Some of them think we ought to upgrade. I'm here for one reason and one reason only. I'm here for the small business owners that are in this room. And that's the only reason I'm here, because we're small. And I want to thank Councilwoman Coonrod, who stuck up for us. She knew that we had protested. We'd been here, we'd protested, and we protested for the right reason. We just didn't realize that all those other people had not been surveyed either. And it was being forced on all of those people. So I'm here today for the small business people. It's why we were here before. We felt it coming. We didn't want to tax our tenants. We didn't want to be taxed, but we didn't want to tax. So I say today's the day to end this tax.
Thank you. Okay, we have the one more gentleman.
My name is N.K. Madan. I own 200 Market Street. And I am here. I'm not prepared for all these good speeches, and I appreciate my previous speakers. They have done a very good job, and I commend their efforts, what they have collected all of the data. But I'm here that my property, this Market Street, that businesses, all the restaurants have gone to the main street, and only after the 5th there are only 2 restaurants left there, and most of the restaurants have closed. And my property is vacant for 3 years, and I've not been able to rent that place. And I already paid $22,000 in the property taxes, and now this $6,000 more taxes, and everything I'm paying from my pocket. And that is why I'm opposing this bid. And I don't appreciate, and all the other reasons, other speakers, they have given very good reasons not to have the bid. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. With that gentleman's comment, this part of the hearing is now closed for the opposition. Now, at this time, I will ask for those who are in support of it. Madam Clerk.
Mitch Patel, property owner, 411 Broad Street.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the council. First of all, could I have everyone that supports the bid please stand up? So my name is Mitch Patel. I'm the president and CEO of Vision Hospitality Group. We have 37 hotels nationwide, of which 12 are based right here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. We're very proud of that, being based right here in Chattanooga with 12 hotels with 700 employees that are based right here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So several things I want to mention. You know, we are probably one of the very few people in this room that actually have experiences with bids. So as having hotels in many markets from Memphis, Denver, Nashville, Louisville, Cincinnati, we've seen the benefits of a bid. And I want to mention that it's not just these communities that we've invested in are safe, friendly, cleaner, and all of those above, but people want to invest in those communities because I strongly believe in those bids that are in place in those communities. And so experiences are the new commodity today, right? We live in the Instagram generation. And it's not just about attractions anymore. It's about what kind of experience are you going to have, not just for visitors, I want to make it very clear, but this bid is first and foremost, even though I'm a hotelier, this bid is first and foremost for locals, for the great citizens of Chattanooga, and I want to mention for all Chattanoogans. It has to be great for every single citizen of Chattanooga in order for this to work. And 98% of these bids in these communities, and there's thousands of them nationwide, renew. Now, I want you to look at it as an investment, not a fee or an assessment. It's an investment in the future of our great city. No, I really believe that.
Come on, y'all, let's be respectful, because during the opposition part, nobody said or made noise or anything, so let's just be fair about this, okay?
So I know we have a lot of other speakers that are going to speak on the benefits of a bid, but I appreciate your consideration, and I also truly respect the opinions of the opposing parties as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk.
Tim Hennon, property owner, 193 Chestnut Street.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman and council members, I appreciate you taking the time to let me speak for a minute. I can't believe I'm here tonight to ask you to vote for something that will cost me money. But I was downtown before it was cool to be downtown. I opened Yesterday's on Patton Parkway in 1973. I opened Big River in 1993. I opened Hennon's in 2005. People that know me say that I am pretty tight with a dollar, but in my business, I have to be. I have seen downtown through many ups and downs over the last 46 years I've been here. We are in a down period and need to do something. This bid will help the area come back and is greatly needed, and I'm also a small business owner. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Madam Clerk.
Travis Little, 835 Georgia Avenue, property owner.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and the council. My name again, as she stated, is Travis Lytle. I'm here to represent Smart Bank. After various conversations with the NAACP, with the River City Company, I fully support the bid. The reason I support the bid is because we had conversations, and what the bid said they would do is help have more diversity, have some diversity on the board. So that was very important to me. If you won't do a bid, you must have diversity and sitting at the table like everything else. So I think diversity wins over, and it's the right thing to do. Second thing is the ambassadors and the people that have the service. The bid has also stated that they would have minorities of all minorities to be at the table, and they would hire ambassadors, minority ambassadors, and also service workers to do the work downtown. So with that stated, that's also a plus in my corner. I mean, that I feel is a good thing. Last thing is startup. The bid also committed to doing startup, having assistance for minorities to have business downtown. So me as a banker, that's very important that we have and as a minority, that we have minorities. So when you have things like that come together, I think that's a win-win. That's a win-win for the city. That's a win-win for downtown, and I think that's a win-win for our community. So again, with those three things, I don't see, that just makes me want to support it. Lastly, as a banker with Smart Bank, I have a lot of my clients that I bank that have business downtown, and I think having something like this is another win, because we need to make sure that our clients, we care about the welfare of our clients. So again, I support the bid fully. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk.
Henry Schultzen, property owner, 321 Chestnut Street.
Good evening. My name is Henry Schultzen. I am the Executive Director of the Creative Discovery Museum located at 321 Chestnut Street. We are a nonprofit organization, and our mission is to inspire all children to explore, innovate, create, and play. And we are an institution committed to serving and welcoming all children and families throughout our community. We opened in 1995, and since that time, we have attracted over 5 million visitors, and the majority have come from the Chattanooga, greater Chattanooga area. Last year, we had a record attendance of close to 250,000 visitors. We are also one of the most accessible cultural organizations in the city. We are open free to the public on the first Thursday evening of every month for children with sensory issues, and we are open free to any member of the general public on the second Thursday evening of every month. Anyone with an EBT or food stamp card can come for $2 per person for up to 6 people at any time, and we have passport programs with Normal Park, Battle, and Calvin Donaldson. We provide free admission for big brothers, big sisters. We provide free admission for any foster parents and for any clients of Baby University. When you look at each year, we provide over 50,000 free and reduced admissions because we actively want the museum to be for all children and all families. In the same way, we want the Creative Discovery Museum to be accessible for all. We also want downtown to be a place where individuals and families feel at home, welcome, and comfortable. We support and are committed to investing in the bid because we feel that it will help achieve this goal. This bid is about investing in an ambassador program, and we feel very strongly that that program must reflect the diversity of the city. We are investing in cleaning up litter and removing graffiti, and marketing and programming, and investing in making the downtown a gathering place, a civic space for all citizens. And I don't really see how this bid represents a barrier to downtown. I really see it as a wonderful opportunity. The bid is a bridge to bring more people downtown, to help every business be more successful, and to make Chattanooga downtown a dynamic and engaging civic space that makes us proud and welcomes all. And I think really if you reflect on what's made Chattanooga successful, it is the public and private partnerships, and it is people from all different walks coming together to make this a better city. And so, you know, I think there is some, maybe we're hearing different sides today, and I have friends on the other side, and so my hope is that what the bid can also do is actually can not divide us, but bring us together to create a better downtown. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Madam Clerk.
John Healy, property owner, 800 Broad Street.
Hi, my name is John Healy. Thanks for having me, Council. Owner at 800 Broad Street. Healy and Company, a commercial real estate firm. I've operated downtown for over 15 years in my business, and I'm a resident of the city of Chattanooga. I think that we're here today, and I understand the opposition, but we're here today because the city has failed to do its job, in my opinion, on what needs to be done in downtown Chattanooga. If you had somebody that was chronically at your doorstep in urine every morning, I think you would have an issue too. There has to be more done. I talked to the police officers outside of our building. They need more help. So we're divided over something that I think everybody would like. I think everybody wants a cleaner and safer downtown, and we're not getting it right now. So property owners have agreed we're going to all chip in money and pay to fix the problems that aren't being fixed. That's why we're here. I don't think that there's any, the scare tactic of bids are bad. These are successful organizations all throughout the country. Many cities have them. In fact, we're the largest city in the state that doesn't have one. So with the economic driver of tourism and the 50,000 people that come downtown every day to work, it seems to me that the city should be keeping their eye on the area where all these people are coming. I believe the driver, even though I do things outside of the center city, but the most important thing for greater Chattanooga is the center city. This is what drives tourism, and it's a $1.2 billion industry every year. We want people coming here. There's lots of other choices for them to go to. I say it's time to make it a better place, and I think we're falling short. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk.
Dana Perry, property owner, 800 Market Street.
Good evening, everybody.
Good
I'm
evening.
Dana Perry, and I live and work downtown. My spouse and I are longtime homeowners at 800 Market Street, the old Lovemans building within the bid area. And we've been here a long time. We moved here back in 2004, and we love living downtown. I'm also a partner and co-owner of the Chambliss Law Firm downtown, and I've been working for them and been a partner of the firm since the mid-1990s. And, you know, I love living and working downtown. And I'm very fortunate. I commute by walking almost every day. And, you know, I've seen Chattanooga come alive in the time we've lived downtown, not to mention the time I've worked downtown. And, you know, we're able to, in addition to be able to walk to and from work, we can walk to restaurants, parks. I mean, the city is really good. So while I'm up here, I want to focus on what's good here and how to make it better downtown. You know, unfortunately, though, over the past few years, I have noticed a gradual and troubling decline and deterioration of our downtown spaces, the graffiti, the things not being cleaned up. And we've got to reverse that. I want my clients who come downtown to see me to have uniformly positive impressions of downtown when they're arriving for an appointment with me or one of my colleagues. I want my coworkers to go out at lunchtime and after work and experience our wonderful city. I want my fellow residents to feel downtown is loved and cared for, and I want more people to move downtown. Finally, I want visitors to keep telling everybody how special this place is and to come back and bring more people down here. In my view, the bid program is civic democracy at its finest. Private property owners stepping up to improve the quality of downtown. To my view, it's 1 + 1 makes 3 in terms of its positive effects it will have on attracting new jobs, new visitors, new residents, and new development downtown. It's going to make this a more welcoming place to all who come here and help us compete with other similarly situated cities who have a bid program. So as you can tell, I am an enthusiastic supporter of the creation of the bid and urge your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk.
Matthew McGauley. I'm sorry about pronouncing that last name, but that is property owner 13 East 7th Street.
Yeah. Hi, Matt McGauley. Mr. Chairman, council members, thank you for the opportunity to address you regarding the creation of the Business Improvement District for downtown. I was fortunate to serve on the bid steering committee and work closely with River City Company and the Puma consultant team. Anyone involved in these early planning sessions would tell you that I was not an immediate or early proponent of the bid, especially after coming off a recent tax increase following the reassessment cycle. I could see potential value in having a bid, but I had to be convinced that our bid would be a value-added business investment and not another tax. This was only worth doing if it would result in a meaningful impact, a measurable enhancement that bid investors could see as a return on their investment. Not all bids are the same, and the flexibility to create one that caters to the unique sets of challenges and characteristics of a specific area is what makes them a great vehicle for the private sector to make enhancements above and beyond basic city services. I can tell you today that I am an advocate for the creation of this proposed bid. In recent years, I have acquired 7 buildings within the bid boundaries and invested millions in redeveloping these properties to give them a new life cycle and a new tenant base. Borrowed money, I might add, so I'm greatly incented to make sure these investments work. My projects focus on sustainability and creating unique spaces where my tenants can thrive and recruit and retain top talent. Some of these properties have become central to the success of the Innovation District, and many of these tenants are key players within Chattanooga's innovation economy. When I finish a redevelopment project, my property taxes go up to reflect the improved state of the building, in some cases, more than 300%. It's frustrating to invest in our city, grow the tax base, and then not receive support and reciprocal investment from the city. Just speaking of my area along Cherry Street and 7th Street, the sidewalks and roads are in terrible condition. Trash is a problem, graffiti is a problem, minor vandalism is a problem, the street light poles are rusted. The only streetscape and greenery that exist are ones that I have installed at my cost. I employ maintenance personnel to take leaf blowers to the area every morning, pick up trash, clean off graffiti, paint over graffiti, spray and pick weeds out of the sidewalks, pressure wash, and more. I do all this because the city does not. The bigger problem is that many fellow bid owners do not do the same, and therefore there's no consistency. The bid will bring consistency, which is vital to the brand of downtown. And unfortunately, I ran out of time. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk.
Johnny O'Brien, property owner, 219 Broad Street.
Thank you, Chairman and City Council. My name is Johnny O'Brien. I'm a co-owner of High Point Climbing and Fitness. I'm proud to be a Chattanoogan. I remember 45 years ago when I first located to the area. You know, just like some of the people said, I avoided downtown. Nobody was downtown in the evenings, and I always loved Chattanooga. But I'm really proud now of really how the city has transformed itself from a private and from a city government standpoint. Everyone coming together in the not-for-profits. So, as a result of me becoming proud of the city, my businesses were located outside of downtown. And in the last 10 years, I've really loved the city, and I've been trying to relocate some of my businesses here. So now I own an office building downtown. We formed and my partner built High Point Climbing and Fitness downtown. We're proud of that in Denver. I have an art gallery just outside of the bid area, and also I have a finance company that I actually lease space downtown. So I come at it from a lot of different angles. One is a small business owner. As an office, I own an office building, I lease property. And so I'm very much in favor of this bid from a lot of different perspectives. One, particularly for the tourists that come into the town. That's a big part of our business on the weekends. And, we love to be able to show off the city, and we're proud of the city. And we hear a lot of people that come in and visit about what a great experience they had here in Chattanooga, not just from the climbing, but from really all the attractions and things to do. Chattanooga was named the outdoor city of the U.S. 2 times, and it's brought a lot of people into the city, particularly the climbing community that travels here from all over the U.S., and we hear routinely about, they understood that we were a great outdoor town, but what they didn't understand was what a great downtown city Chattanooga is, and what a great experience they've had when they got here. And then they go back out and they tell everyone, and they attract more visitors that come into the city. And I serve on the Chattanooga Visitors Bureau, and I see the impact that the tourism, the visitors coming into the city brings into Chattanooga for tax revenues, how it supports further missions that we need to do as far as the government. And that comes from the successful visitors coming in and experiencing Chattanooga. So, again, I'm very much in favor of the bid. I'm proud of Chattanooga. I'm doing this and supporting it not from a business perspective. I'm paying this money because I want to enhance the city. I want to make it better for everyone that works here, that lives downtown, and to be able to keep this momentum going and make the city much better. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk.
Lou Goss, property owner, 2 Broad Street.
To the council, I'm Lou Goss, owner and operator of the Plaza Food Court, which is located on the plaza of the Tennessee Aquarium. The aquarium opened in 1992, and to be quite frank, it was the biggest thing to hit Chattanooga in centuries. and it's done wonderful things to make the downtown area and further Chattanooga the showplace of the South. When we opened, which was in '93, 1 year after the aquarium opened on the plaza, things were just peachy keen. It was beautiful. Flowers were everywhere. Parks and recreation were planting flowers all the time. The streets were well kept, and there was a sense of pride. I've noticed over the last 10 years or so, the degradation that has occurred downtown in terms of the improvement. I don't know whether the city has had shortfalls in the budget or what, but we just don't have what we once had. Initially, there were rangers. They didn't carry guns, but they were on the plaza. And they were on the plaza greeting people and saying hello, and they gave you a sense of comfort as you looked around. They were uniformed. You know, I don't know why they were taken away, but they were taken away. I don't know why they don't plant flowers like they used to, but they don't. I don't know why there's so much trash on the street, but it is. If BID offers the opportunity, and it does, to bring back some of what we had, I'm for it. I'll yield the rest of my time. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam, given the time that's left, we have two people, enough for two people. So, Madam Clerk?
John Kinsey, owner, 193 Chestnut Street.
Mr. Chairman, council members, thank you, first of all, for the service you provide our city. It is a difficult job, and we are fortunate that each of you have agreed to give the amount of time that you do. I have only been involved in downtown's growth not nearly as long as my friend Tim Hennon here. My first development here was I was a partner in the Trade Center and what's now the Marriott Hotel that opened in 1984. So that's only as far back as I go. I've lived downtown and still do for the last 17 years. I have 3 different buildings within the Business Improvement District. They have that house 9 businesses. All 9 of those businesses are in favor of this. They're all down in the Aquarium District, and if you go down Market Street we are not doing as well as we used to do. I mean, it just shows. And I have a little different perspective. I don't think it's necessarily the city falling down on their job. I think it's people expect more than cities can do, which is why all these other cities have bids. And I have not been in favor of the bid in the past, but it's, you know, only recently I've realized these other cities are doing more and we're falling behind, and we need to step up and pick it up. And I would like to say one other comment about the democratic process. You know, like all of you, I also have gone through the democratic process and got elected for office. And, you know, when that happens, there's one winner, and not everybody can win. Well, any way you look at this, the 60-something% of the number of people, property owners, have voted in favor of this. 82% of the value of the property is in favor of this. There are more people here today. I mean, I don't know what democracy is if this hadn't been democracy. We've been over this for a year. And I just appreciate, I would appreciate your vote for this. Thank you.
Thank you. Is that it? Anybody else? Oh, okay.
I'm Brad Whitaker, the rector at St. Paul's Episcopal Church. There wasn't a no but or a yes but line. There was only a yes or a no, so I went to the closest one, which was the yes line. And a lot has been said that I had written down, so I'm going to be very brief. And I really only stand to say that that I agree with a lot that was said both for and against, and I was appalled by what was said by both for and against. I'm certainly for small business owners, and I'm for making sure that we care for people, all people, whether they own property or not, whether they live in a home or not in the city. I'm also was bothered by the demonizing of people believing that they are supportive of this only for personal gain. I know a number of these folks who have been supportive of this, and I love them and respect their care for their citizens and their progressive values that are reflected in the core values of St. Paul's. I'm also bothered in ways in which we might define a human being soaked in urine as a problem. So I stand really conflicted on this, other than to say St. Paul's cares about a clean city. We care about a city that cares for everyone, whether they're shopping or whether they're looking for financial help from someone who's walking on the street. We care about folks who are downtown, and we want all of those people to be safe downtown. And we care about how the city looks to the rest of the world, but we want that to be one with integrity and to really represent the reality of who we are. And so I really stand to say that I'm praying for each of you by name. The decision you make requires a lot of wisdom, and I hope that that's what you draw upon. And I would encourage our citizens of our city to not demonize one another, but to come together in ways that reflect who we are as God's children. I'm not the property owner at St. Paul's, someone else is. And if that person was in the room, we might all scatter. So thank you for being here, and thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Is there any other property owner who is in support of this? Come now. Okay, this session is now closed. I want to take this opportunity to thank each and every one who came, whether you were in support or opposition. One thing that is quite clear is, however this process may go, that we find a way to come together as we as Chattanoogas are known to do, and make our city the great city that it is, because a house divided will eventually fall, and that's not who we are or what we're about in our city. So with that being said, I would like to call for a motion. Oh, I'm sorry. Councilwoman Byrd, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There's been a lot of information shared tonight, and I want to agree with the last speaker. This is what democracy is. Some people are for, some people are against. Thank God we're able to sit here and share our voices. A lot of us have done a lot of thinking about this and have done serious thinking about it. And I'm sure that all of us are speaking and voting tonight from our hearts. I have 2 points of clarification that I want to bring up, and I think I want this with the city attorney, because I think there might have been some misinformation shared. Mr. Attorney, anyone needing some relief from the assessment can come before the bid board. Is that correct?
They could, yes.
All right, thank you. For the record, I would like, at the end of the year, as you know, we receive an audit report. If this goes through, we receive an audit report, not only of the money spent, but of the behavior. And so I would like included in the audit report, which is not part of the motion, this is for the record, that any people that came before the board, how that was handled. And I understand that this is all open to sunshine law. Everything is open to sunshine law, all the bid meetings. There are no secret meetings. So hopefully the press will be there as well. The other question I had is someone brought up the fact that the state law allows for bid boards to tell people who, what, and when to do with their property. They do allow that. However, I don't see that in this particular ordinance. Is that true or not?
The state law at least makes that provision, ma'am, on here. And we would, any action that they took would have to be in conformity with the Tennessee statute.
With the Tennessee statute.
Yes, ma'am.
As several people mentioned, the Tennessee statute, as I've said before, is inarticulate and the process poor at best. However, this is what we're dealing with now. And so I want people to understand that we have thought long and hard about and argued about the best way to do this, because we all do believe in democracy. As a matter of fact, we're sitting up here because we believe in democracy. I think it's a little bit disingenuous for people to imply the threat that if we don't go your way, somehow we're in danger. I didn't know that to be in democracy. However, I do very much fight for your freedom of speech. I think that's all I want to say right now. You've made some great clarifications. I think that the audit report becomes very important. That's where the council's power is, to see if people do what they say they're going to do, or where we need to go from there. So thank you.
Okay, with that being said, what's the pleasure of the council? Councilman Mitchell.
I move approval.
Councilman Byrd.
Before I make my motion, to the business owners, you heard the plea and the cries of the people who are renting from you, who are doing business with you, and some of the ones who have storefronts and stuff downtown. If this was to pass or this was to go through this year, I would definitely pay close attention to everything that's going on with this and all the things that I've had talks with people who are for it and or against it. I'm gonna hold you accountable for everything that you said, everything that you told me in these meetings that you're gonna do to support these people and make sure that they get the best services possible. I'm gonna be on that 1,000% if this goes through. And to the people that are against it, I encourage you to go today and sign up to be on the board if this goes through, because you do deserve to have a voice on that board and you need to sign up for it. And I wanna see how that process works as well. And with that, I second.
Okay. Okay, we have a couple of voices who want to be heard. Darren Ledford.
Thank you, Chairman. I've wrestled with this tremendously. I look out in the room and I see friends on both sides of this issue. I was in last week. I was in D.C. and at times my wife's looking at me and she says, "Are you still thinking about the bid?" And I said, "Yeah," as I'm standing in the Library of Congress or standing in our Capitol or in the House of Representatives, and I'm thinking, you know, this is a great responsibility. And so I prepared some words that I want to read, and I just want to share with people that when I look across this room, that this breaks my heart. We all want the same thing. We want a safe, clean place to live and work and play. And as a small business owner, a commercial property owner myself, and the landlord, this has been extremely difficult to wrestle with because I've rented and I've had a small business in Chattanooga, thank the good Lord, for 20 years now. And a walking tour of Chattanooga's proposed bid district reveals the challenges overdue for solutions. I understand why private citizens want to tackle what local government has allegedly failed to do. And I understand the mayor's support for this. The private sector can offer the partnership that government needs to fill gaps and shortfalls. And there is no doubt assistance is required. If the city can't do the job, then yes, by all means, let the private sector help. My concern is how this body is the tool for the implementation of something that has many unanswered questions and obvious controversy even amongst ourselves. Do I believe the proposed bid was presented with passion and heart for a better downtown environment and contained the utmost good intentions? Yes, I do. As the author now, the bid proposal is in the hands of the Chattanooga City Council. 2 weeks ago, we discussed concern for pathways and relief and financial hardship application for every property owner. I'm not convinced that those were selected and are in the original version. I cannot find the change or the language as we discussed that would allow every property owner the same right to apply for hardship or relief. Pilots and TIFs, hardly mentioned tonight, a point of much contention from the public, will be almost certainly guaranteed abatement by simple non-decision. I put that in quotes. Read carefully. Pilots and TIFs already receiving reduction in taxes can be abated a second time, simply by the lack of decision and for the term of their contract. Nonprofit organizations and religious institutions working in the trenches with boots on the ground and making a difference in our community will have to apply every year, opening their entire financial history. I don't see consideration for property owners who have already made improvements or have capital improvement plans in the near future. Will these plans fall to the wayside with additional financial burden? I don't know. Maybe the board will consider these factors. That decision will solely rest with them. I am asking now, as I have asked before, to continue our discussion and create an ordinance that reflects our council goals, values, and the spirit of communication with input from all that make up our unique economic fabric. This legislation comes with a no-return policy until the 10th year. Let me stress, only when specific criteria are met in the 10th year can the discussion to cease or continue can occur. Not all property owners are the same, and we often discuss avoiding one-size-fits-all legislation. Our downtown is made up of all types of businesses, large, small, renters, owners, street vendors, and our growing residential population. I'm thrilled that this council agreed as a whole that all persons affected by this ordinance have the opportunity to voice their opinion tonight. That is always the right thing to do. I support working together toward a common goal and staying true to our Tennessee roots. I believe a voluntary process will create a solid foundation of trust and forge a pathway to results that we desire, all of us desire, without the strong arm of governmental authority. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Councilwoman Kumrod.
Thank you, Chair. I too struggled with the bid. I, for once, went downtown and walked and talked to small business owners, property owners that reside in the overlay of the bid to hear their concerns. I left my card for people to reach out to me, to call me, email me, share your concerns. If you wanted to meet, we can do the same process. But I wanted to hear from individuals within the bid to actually hear their concerns. I listened to several people on the last round that said that, you know, there may be some that are in fear to speak about it. And I wanted to address those issues. I also wanted to have the opportunity to do my own research outside of what had been presented to council, and also have the opportunity to go visit other states to see what's working and what's not working with the bid process. I had the opportunity to visit Cincinnati and see how the bid has worked to help redevelop over the Rhine, a community that was very impoverished and lacked investment. I had the opportunity to visit in Nashville to see the same concept work there. And I had the opportunity to visit New Orleans and see people that look like me and had background issues and that prevented them from working a job that they dreamed of working, that they had the opportunity to be employed. By working within the bid as ambassadors, they had established their own, become entrepreneurs and had their own security companies. And there were retirees that were working also in the bid, showing people, providing directions of where they need to go to an establishment, a place, or an entertainment site. And they were overly joyed to have the opportunity with that. I think the bid can be helpful. I weighed the pros and cons here in Chattanooga and see it, and actually interested in trying to see how we can move it forward to be placed in District 9, which has been, some parts have had lack of investment. The bid has turned into something, it's more like a circus now, and it's being taken away from actually what it's presented to be. I've heard countless stories of how this has become about Kim White and the possibility of her running for mayor that has nothing to do with the bid. I hear from a lot of constituents, black people mostly, and organizations that represent black people that says that it's not a place for black people to come downtown. But blacks come from people whose unpaid physical labor and brilliance literally built this place, who fought off dogs and who was hosed down daily so that we can come and enjoy our public spaces. Have I experienced bad interactions based on others' ignorance and racism? Yes, I have. But I also, what hurts the most is experiencing it from people who look just like I do. Our people fought hard day in and day out to give us the opportunity to come downtown. We should flood the city of Chattanooga every opportunity that we get to come downtown, because I refuse to allow anybody, any policy that's put in place to prevent my family and I, or my friends, from coming downtown and enjoying it. It's for everybody. If this bid does pass, it's a place that will continue to improve all Chattanoogans. Everybody can come work, live, and play down here if they would like to. And secondly, I've heard so many business owners within the bid map that has stated, I will not be able to continue to operate downtown. I'm gonna have to close my business and move if this tax is trickled down to us. But as I represent District 9, I'm begging and pleading investors and business owners to come occupy the space in District 9. I've got plenty commercial buildings on Brainerd Road, Glass Street, Tunnel Boulevard, Wilcox, Dodson Avenue. It's free reign at cheap prices, lower prices. Please, District 9 welcome any of you at any given time. But lastly, I will say this, is that I ask the property owners, please be considerate of our small business owners that are renters in your buildings, to not tax, levy any additional fees on them. Just take the burden. If you're wanting to go ahead and put this in place, just allow them to continue to pay their price at what they're paying for now. And then we all will be, satisfied. That's the only request that I have for you guys. I think this can be something that can be workable on both sides. And we've put into place where we can come back a year from now, as Councilwoman Byrd stated, and we can reevaluate it. So that means if it's not working, as a council, if it passes, we can say, well, listen, we no longer want this to operate in the city of Chattanooga, right? And there's other ways that you could get out of the process if you choose to, or to be a part of it. I think, and I remember downtown, like Giorgio said, when nobody wanted to come downtown at all, everybody went out to hammer the place. Now everybody is coming back. I also remember downtown when once a week, my grandmother would dress us all up in our Sunday best, whatever that would look like. And we'd come down to Loveman's, and you had to dress a certain way, you had to talk a certain way, you had to walk a certain way. And she would clench our hands and say, don't you touch nothing. You don't want to give anybody the wrong impression, or you better speak to that lady. You say ma'am, and you say sir to the individuals that are serving you. So over the generations, it has become diluted to where we can't afford to come downtown because we can't dress a certain way now. We can't look the way that they want us to look. We don't talk the way that they want us to talk or act the way that they say we should act. So we choose to stay in our own silos in our communities when we need to come outside of those walls. We need to start partnering with other people and start making it happen for everybody. So I will be working with the bid management group, so we can talk about what it looks like to actually diversify our downtown. And that can include things like pop-up spaces for people to utilize a space for a business opportunity. Black people working together, partnering together, and operating in those businesses. Those type things work and become successful. We got Smart Bank on board, so there's opportunity for loans or what he can assist you with what you would need in order to move or purchase property downtown. We have to stop looking at every single thing as if it's a negative and begin to look at things for what it's worth that can move our city forward for every citizen in Chattanooga. Black people got some stake in the game as well, and we need to realize that. We need to understand who we are as a people, and we need to start capitalizing and benefiting on the opportunities here in Chattanooga just like every other citizen.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Very well said. Councilman Gilbert.
Yes, Chair, I'd like to make an amendment. Everyone that sent a letter that was opposed to this, everyone that spoke today that's opposed, that don't want to be in the bid, that fits the regulations of on the boundary lines to be exempted from this. I feel that no one should be forced to be part of this. No one should be if the business people have a right to do what they do, but why would you want to force someone that don't want to be in it? I mean, you have enough people that I see in this audience that can get together and do exactly what you say you're going to do anyway. But to force somebody, I have a problem with that, so I'm making an amendment.
Okay, we have an amendment on the floor. Is there a second? Second. It's been Councilman Henderson, then Councilman Smith.
Mr. Attorney, I guess my question is,
Yeah.
by state law, is this amendment that's being proposed in keeping with state law?
The state law says that you're to hold a hearing. You're supposed to make a decision about the boundaries at that time. The statute specifically said you can consider objections and protests, and you can change the district boundaries or modify the proposal as may deemed advisable by the governing body. And you have to adopt at the end of this hearing an ordinance that either adopts or rejects the district that you propose. The problem that you have in connection with creating holes in the middle of your district as you're going along is it makes it one property owner gets out, another property owner right next to them has to pay, and that causes problems in your community, but that's an issue for y'all to decide.
So you're saying state law does permit us to create donut holes?
State law was talking about the boundary itself, the exterior portion of the boundary.
Well, I guess my question is, would this amendment create donut holes?
There is no case law on that one way or the other as to what that is.
Okay. Councilman Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Can we get clarification on exactly what this amendment is and what it would do? I just want to make that really, really clear. As I understand it, it is a substantial change to the way that this bid was initially proposed. Nobody jump out there at me, just anybody.
If you want to talk to Mr. Noblet or not?
Well, technically, I'm not supposed to address my colleagues, so Mr. Noblet, I'm looking at you.
Sure. There have been 13 people thus far that have spoken in opposition to the bid this meeting. We got a total of 4 letters before this meeting occurred, so that was all that were out there, at least as to individuals. A number of those individuals have also spoken at this meeting tonight. So there's 13 people that have spoken. Many of those do not own a property in connection with the area that is involved, but they are business owners. So that is the question here as to whether you're wanting to, draw holes around areas that have just business owners, or whether you're wanting to draw holes around property owners that would have an assessment under the business improvement district, or if you're wanting to retract the boundaries somewhat in that regard. In the event that there is a problem where there is more than 1/2 of the assessed value of the property that would complain about it, then you're not supposed to adopt a resolution. That has not occurred this evening, at least by the folks that have spoken. So you have to make decisions here as to how you want to draw those boundaries in this meeting. We had a map that was attached to the ordinance initially in connection with this case. If there's any amendments to that, it would have to be done on that map, or you'd have to list specific properties.
So to clarify the amendment, it's anybody that has spoken out in opposition or who has requested to this body to be excluded. That is the amendment, not anybody who did not agree or did not want to be a part of it.
Yeah, please, yeah. Wait a minute, we got some folks before you, so you have to. Okay. Okay, hit it again. Okay.
I was basing this off of what I was told by our lawyer, that we couldn't create donut holes, but we can, on the outskirts of this bid, allow people to be out of it, that wants to be out of it, that has petitioned to be out of it. So that's what the amendment was about.
So the amendment is only those on the outskirts?
Correct, based off what I was told, that we could not do donut holes.
So backing up then, what I just heard though was we had to redraw the map
Yes,
now
sir.
for it to make it happen.
You're supposed
At
to
this
at least
moment.
redraw the map and attach it to the ordinance if that is to occur, yes, sir. And if you have a map that has the streets, if you want to go by streets, we can look at that.
Okay, we have another, we'll come back and address that. Councilman Ledford.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I feel like this is a little bit of deja vu. I think we've all been here before. So the last time we tried that amendment, we were discussing the donut hole theory, but by allowing the nonprofits, churches, pilots, and TIFs to apply, and at some point the board is going to exempt, I feel strongly to that, this thing could end up looking like Swiss cheese. So I kind of have to argue, I'm going to argue like I did last time, that donut holes is going to look like Swiss cheese at some point. So, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
I'd like to call the amended motion.
Okay. We have a call on the amended motion. All in favor?
Yeah.
Wait, let's do a roll call. Yeah, please.
Burrs,
The amendment.
Voting on is that your wish to vote on the amendment?
All right, so my question was cut off, but I think it becomes very important, Councilman, and that is that considered a substantial change?
It is, ma'am, but this statute says that if there is a change in the code, it is to be adopted after this meeting.
Does that mean take it back to first reading?
No, ma'am. Under this
So it
state
remains
law,
second reading?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. No.
Byrd,
No.
Coonrod. Gilbert,
Yes.
Henderson,
No.
Ledford. Mitchell.
No.
Smith. Oglesby.
No.
That's 5 no.
5 no, okay. So now we'll go back to the original motion as approving the original.
Roll call.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, roll call, please.
Burrs, Byrd. Coonrod. Gilbert.
No.
Henderson.
Yes.
Ledford.
No.
Mitchell.
Yes.
Smith. Oglesby.
Yes.
6 yes.
Okay, motion passed with majority of 6. That is it. Okay? Madam, well, we'll give them opportunity to leave. Yes. Yes. Oh, okay. Well, we'll do a 5-minute recess. We will recess for 5 minutes.
I got it.
Withdrawn? Okay, somebody needs,
Withdrawn. Just make sure you requested withdrawal this afternoon. So yeah, it needs to have a motion. Yeah, it was just made today. Yes, there has. Yes, there has. Okay. Yeah. See where we are. It's not. No, sir.
no, the reason why, if he follows home, I know I'm gonna stop at liquor store.
All right.
That's what he's going.
Be careful. Actually got Sam to send me this meeting for us in case we get sued.
Oh, okay, good, good, good.
Sam wrote us a letter. I'll be in touch. Yes. Thank you very
where
much.
you going?
You heard the threat part, so we'll see what we get. Yes, thank you. Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
Well, good. I'm glad you made it. Yeah, now we're going into, this is the real meat, yeah. Thank you.
So that was it. Yeah, I assumed she would find you if I didn't. That's what I was doing. Yeah.
I want to call back to order our city council meeting for this July 30th. Ready, Madam Clerk? Okay, let's go on to 5B, please.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance, so as to rezone properties located in the 7200 block of Bonnie Oaks Drive, more particularly described herein from R1 residential zone to R4 special zone, subject to certain conditions.
Council, what's your pleasure? Yeah, excuse me? Okay. Your thing is not on. Okay, there you go.
Is Mike Price here? Do you have any? Yeah, John?
Yeah, they officially submitted an email to the attention of the city attorney and chairman to withdraw the request. I think it's like the transaction didn't go through, so they're formally asking to withdraw.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. Sorry, I hadn't received that by the time I left the office.
Sure.
So I make a motion that this be withdrawn.
Okay, it's been moved and properly seconded by Councilman Ledford. Any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye. Opposers, nay. Motion's carried to withdraw. Madam Clerk, 6A, please.
An ordinance amending Chattanooga City Code Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance, Articles 2 and 5, Sections 38.2, 38.183.17, 38.305, 38.306, 38.323.5, 38.333.7, and 38.341.10 relating to outdoor storage and meeting warehouses.
Okay, Councilman Ledford, followed by Councilman Gilbert.
Thank you, Chairman. We are going to hear this more in detail at our next Tuesday's Planning and Zoning Committee meeting, and all of the copy has been sent to all the council members. It is in your inbox now, as requested per our 3 o'clock session. So I would like to move to defer this item to August 20th.
Been moved and properly seconded by Councilman Gilbert. Any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye. Opposers, nay. Deferred till August 20th. Okay. Now, Madam Clerk, let's move on to resolutions. 7A, please.
A resolution expressing the intent of the city of Chattanooga to issue bonds in the aggregate amount not to exceed $31,500,000 for the purpose of paying all or a portion of the cost of library HVAC and lighting system, library electrical upgrade, apparatus fire pumper, sidewalks, pedestrian infrastructure, South Chickamauga Creek Greenway, Cane Lane Alley Program, Cane Lane Greenway Connector, South 3rd, 4th Street Improvement and Gateway, Goodwin Road, Gunbear, Hamilton Place Boulevard, Patton Parkway, Complete Streets, 26th Market to Wheeling Site, No Median, Shepherd Road Enhancement, Highway 153 Airport, Transportation Streetscape Sidewalks, 3rd, 4th Street, Airport Area Road, improvements, East Brandon Lee Highway, intersection Alton Park, Riverwalk Connector, Area 3 Commercial District, streetscape improvements, bridge management, maintenance, multiple locations, Central Avenue, Elder Mountain Road, slope stabilization and roadway improvements, Somerville Connector, Riverwalk Extension, Middle Street to Incline, Wilcox Boulevard Tunnel, East Entrance, Woodmore, SRTS, construction phase, East Lake YFD Center expansion, building energy efficiency upgrades, city buildings and YFD centers, major maintenance, Greenway Farms, city facilities improvement and or campus consolidation, ESEP, Ferdinand Peach Way modifications, Greenway Farm Conference Center replacement, 3500 St. Elmo, Broad Street, Davidson Road, and East Lake water quality restoration.
Councilman Smith, followed by Councilman Burrs.
Move approval.
Been moved and properly seconded by Councilwoman Burrs. Any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. Motion carries. B, please.
A resolution expressing the intent of the City of Chattanooga to issue bonds in the aggregate amount not to exceed $60 million of the City of Chattanooga, Tennessee, for the purpose of paying all or a portion of the cost of projects related to the Interceptor Sewer System Sanitary Sewer Overflow Program, City Code Pump Station Improvements, Moccasin Bend Wastewater Treatment Plant Solids Process Optimization Implementation Phase 4, Wet Weather Storage Phase 5, East Brainerd Wet Weather Storage Phase 6, Hickson Pump Station Number 1, Wet Weather Storage Phase 7, Lee Highway.
Councilwoman Burrs, followed by Councilman Ledford.
Move approval.
Been moved and properly seconded by Councilman Ledford. Any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye. Opposers, nay. Motion carries. C, please.
A resolution authorizing the city finance officer to execute the selection of option 3 of the options form for a fixed account amendment to group flexible purchase payment deferred variable annuity contract and application for a guaranteed minimum interest rate with Nationwide Retirement Solutions and Nationwide Life Insurance Company, collectively Nationwide.
Councilwoman Burrs, followed by Councilman Ledford.
Move approval.
Been moved and properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye. Opposers, nay. Motion carries. D, please.
A resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Public Works to enter into a fourth amendment to exercise option to renew in substantially the form attached for the partnership agreement with Chattanooga Flying Disc Club for the renewal term of 1 year for the continued use and operation of all present and future disc golf courses at city public parks and for daily use and tournament play.
Councilman Ledford.
Move to approve. Second.
Been moved and properly seconded by Councilman Mitchell. All in favor by the sign of aye. Opposers, nay. Motion carries. E, please.
A resolution authorizing approval of change order number 1 final for JDH Company, Inc. relative to contract number Y17013-201, replacement roofing system for North Chattanooga YFD Center Building for an increased amount of $8,650 for a revised contract amount of $40,780.
Vice Chairman Henderson.
Move for approval.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Questions? All in favor by the sign of aye. Opposers, nay. Motion carries. F, please.
A resolution authorizing the approval of change order number 1 final for Clean Coat Construction of Tennessee, Inc. relative to contract numbers R16015-201 and R17002-201 paving at Urban Riverfront Marina Parking Lot and Parks Maintenance Building for an increased amount of $12,991.02 for a revised contract amount of $195,190.32.
Councilman Ledford.
Mr. Chairman, this is in your district. Without opposition, I move for approval.
Thank you, Councilman Ledford, seconded by Councilman Smith. Thank you. Any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye. Opposers, nay. Motion carries. G, please.
A resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Public Works to execute a sales order with the Electric Power Board concerning the Warner Park Field House and the remodeled Friends of the Zoo facility located at 301 North Holtzclaw Avenue in the amount of $40,915.49.
Councilman Byrd, this is in your district. It's been moved and properly seconded by Councilwoman Byrd. Any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye. Opposers, nay. Motion carries. Now we move on to purchases.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We have 6 purchases for your consideration tonight. The first being on behalf of the Fire Department, which is a blanket contract renewal for firefighters' station uniforms to be awarded to Summit Uniform Solutions, Inc., an estimated annual amount of $120,000. Next, on behalf of the Youth and Family Development Department, we have a new blanket contract for commercial food services to be awarded to YMCA Young Men's Christian Association, an estimated annual amount of $580,641. Excuse me. Next, the final 4 purchases are on behalf of the Public Works Department. First being a new blanket contract for road plating services to be awarded to TNT Concrete, an estimated annual amount of $26,500. Next, a new blanket contract for custodial services for citywide park facilities to be awarded to Jana King of Chattanooga, an estimated annual amount of $115,000. Next, a new blanket contract for custodial services for the Tennessee River Park facilities to be awarded to Jana King of Chattanooga, an estimated annual amount of $140,000. $1,000. And finally, renewal of the blanket contract for security guard services to be awarded to SEI, Inc., an estimated annual amount of $625,000.
Council, what is your pleasure? Been moved and properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor by the sign of aye. Opposers, nay. Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Woodard.
Thank you.
Now we move on to other business. Okay, Councilman Byrd.
Thank you, Chair. I've received several phone calls and several emails about, I know we addressed it earlier concerning the city seal being used by partnering companies or someone, that it can come off as misleading, or that the city is supporting or encouraging someone to do something. At this point, who has the authority, or is it anything this body can do, or who's over that situation, just so we can go on record for addressing how that works and why the city seal was used? You could do this. Thank you, Stacey.
I'd be glad to answer that if it pleases the council.
Ms. Richards.
Yes, sir. So thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Councilman Byrd. So I believe the project in question, as you all know, this council voted to approve an operating agreement between us and a third-party vendor that offers insurance similar to what's offered at other utilities. They offer a similar type of insurance. I've covered all that, so I won't belabor the point. Our office has put a stop to any future mailings so that we can review it further and make sure that there's not any misleading or otherwise, confusing information for the public. As far as who approves those things, it's the mayor's office, the city communications department looks at those. We do that for departments. We time to time offer to do that for the council. I'd be glad to share with you all those documents so that you have them, but for members of the public, we have ceased putting out any further mailings until we have a chance to review them. We'd be glad to review them with you.
Thank you.
If that's something you wish to do, or any other member of the body.
Thank you for addressing that. We really appreciate you. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Byrd. Councilman Ledford.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. At this time, I'd like to appoint Ms. Summer Pattison, that's easy for me to say, a resident of District 4, to the OMA Advisory Board.
Okay. Thank you, Councilman. Okay, I'd like to announce two events that's happening in District 7 this weekend. On this coming Saturday, August 3rd, there'll be a movie in the park. It was originally scheduled for 2 weeks ago, but due to thunderstorms, it was canceled and scheduled for August the 3rd at the Southside Community Park, which is located off Central Avenue and 38th and Alton Park. The movie will be Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So I know that sounds exciting. Yeah, Spider-Verse, okay, wherever that's at. Yeah, absolutely. And there'll be free ice cream and popcorn and a lot of activities for the kids. And then the next day on Sunday, August the 4th, in Miller Park, there'll be Rock the Block. So they'll be giving out school supplies, backpacks, haircuts, and a lot of exciting things, family-friendly things. So I encourage, if you can't make it, to spread the word to come to Rock the Block August 4th at Miller Park, and to the Southside Community Park. I love saying this, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Okay, that's all I have, and I see no other lights for other business. We'll now move on to committee reports. So Councilwoman Byrd. No report. Councilman Byrd. No report. Councilman Gilbert.
Yes.
There you go. Well,
Yes.
got you.
Yeah.
It's active.
I got it. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Today we had a Human Resource Committee. She did a great job because no one had questions about anything. We had the committee talked about salary compensation study, which is a great thing. I think it's been years before we did this, and it's a wonderful opportunity for us to provide opportunity for our employees. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilman Gilbert. This is the second week in a row we've had some really, really good committee reports. So they rocking and rolling.
They're doing a great job.
Yeah.
Best department inside the city. That
I'm
touches
telling
everybody.
you. Yeah, our talent management person. Okay, Councilman Henderson. Councilman Ledford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We will have a Planning and Zoning Committee meeting immediately following our agenda session next Tuesday. We will discuss the outdoor storage and mini warehouse text amendment, which is in everyone's email boxes now.
Ooh, can't wait. Councilman Mitchell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We'll have a Public Works and Transportation Committee meeting next Tuesday following possible planning and zoning.
Okay. Councilman Smith.
Your report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Council. Now we are at the point where we're going to recognize person wishing to address the council on non-agenda matters. Mr. Attorney, please read the rules.
Yes, sir. The City Council adopted its rules of operation back on April the 2nd of 2019. For non-agenda items here, they allow public comment at the end of the council business meeting, and the chair can recognize members of the public who wish to address the council if they follow these rules. Each speaker wishing to address the council can only be addressed at the microphone that's provided. You can't have more than 3 minutes to speak. You can only address the council upon matters within their legislative and quasi-judicial authority. Can't be used, permitted to use any vulgar or obscene language, nor use the floor to personally denigrate or personally attack others. You can't recognize any person, neighborhood association, or organization more than twice in a 30-day time period. And anyone wishing to address the council can only do so once during the council day, either at the agenda session, committee meeting, or the council business meeting. And those are the rules.
Thank you, sir. And we have 3 people on the list who have spoken at least twice in the past 30 days, and that's Ms. Marie Mott, Ms. Aaliyah Wright, and Mr. Sylvester Harris. Sir, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Monty Bell, the homeless journalist, the Great Herd Fox. It's been a long wait. I don't see Councilwoman Coonrod. I actually came here to make her part of my presentation for the 3 minutes. It's not enough time. I have in my hand a newspaper article. I've got fraud on it because it was part of my book that was stolen there at UTC. Which was supported by the city, the county, and the state, and the NAACP. We're going after $48 billion. We're going to get that money. This article says front opens in battle against homelessness. It has your picture on it, Mr. Chair. It also has the picture of several other city council representatives, but I've had 3 of my homeless people die without your presence, without your response. Without your involvement, without your concern, without you being who you said you were when you ran for the office. Mr. City Attorney, I have here also, with the time remaining, it's not enough time. This is city, and next week we'll talk about the bid that you all gave. I want to address Councilwoman Coonrod. She said she knew a lot about what happens downtown. I wonder if she knew that Monty Bell not only put the banner for the Panthers there at my high school, Mr. Gibbard, we'll talk about that next week, but I also started an agency called the African American Chamber of Commerce. Real quick, I want to get to so much, and there's not enough time. Some of the members, let's see here, that changed my concept to the Tennessee Multicultural Chamber, and its membership includes individuals, Commissioner Greg Beck, Dr. William M. Phillips, Judge Curtis L. Collier, Judge Walter F. Williams. Way down the list, it says Mr. and Mrs. John Kinsey. I wonder how he took an idea, an intellectual idea of the homeless journalist, the Gray Haired Fox, and got the city council under then Councilman Byrd, a guy by the name of John Taylor, who owns Taylor Funeral Home. I wonder how he supported that idea. And it goes down because my time is short. Inconsistencies raise questions about the agency of the Tennessee Multicultural Chamber. Job push overweighs homelessness. This is former city Mayor Ron Littlefield. Mr. Noble, you've been a part of all this too. And we'll get to the true bill, charging Monty Bell with harassing under 39-17-308. Councilman Byrd, you and Councilwoman Coonrod asked the city attorney to provide you with that statute. I've requested a meeting, which I haven't had. $48 billion for the homeless journalist, the Gray Haired Fox. $19 million is going to Brainerd High School. Anyone takes a brick down from that school, we'll take 5 down from Baylor. And I thank you. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. Is there anyone else would like to address the council? Yeah, we owe you one, so come on up here. Wait a minute, man, what's up? Oh, rock the block, okay. Yeah, just talked about that. Yeah.
My name is Stephen West. I live at 5280 Rotary Drive. I have three things I want to ask. Okay, that's better? Okay. Number one is Champion Road. I've been asking about this road for, I know, at least 4 years or longer. Come the 4th of July, 2 people had a flat on that road. And, you know, the road ain't still fixed. But you go around on the other side, where these big $100,000 homes at, it's paved all the way down through there, but it stops. It don't even come down to Rotary Drive. It stops right there where the rich house is at. It stops there. Why can't we just bring it all the way around? Because, you know, it's kind of bad when people come to our city and that's a state park and that road is just tore up. Nobody want to fix it because I guess the county don't want to help. And it's bad that when we can fix a private road in Hickson, but we can't fix a city road. That's kind of funny about that. I have a problem with that. That's my taxpayers' money. Number two is, we have out there at the Wood Recycle Center, that chipper been gone for a week. They under a contract with the city. They ain't out there, but we got brush piled all up. Like I said once before about that, it's kind of funny, I'm a taxpayer, and these people ain't out there doing their job. Because if I'm not doing mine, what happens? I get fired, laid off, whatever. So, you know, I'm just saying, when y'all contract these jobs out, make sure they're doing their job. I don't care what kind of business they got, whatever. It's just too much money going out of this city to contracts, and these people not doing their jobs where they need to be at. Because the chipper got sold, that didn't supposed to be sold, still got the city seal on it. So, you know, it's kind of funny how when stuff gets sold, we normally take the seal off. That seal is still on. So that means if something happens, something flies out, it hits somebody's car, they ain't gonna come after them, they're gonna come after the city. Because the seal, because it says it still belongs to the city. You know, it's so much stuff going on in the city, you know, and I'm just asking y'all to start taking a look at things and stop just, and I'm not gonna say what my colleague back there say, rubber stamp, because I don't think y'all rubber stamp. I think y'all really do an honest job of trying to do things that's right. But I'm just asking y'all to start looking at contracts. Make sure these folks ain't got other jobs and other things that they're doing with our money. Because I'm a taxpayer, and believe me, I'm struggling just to pay my taxes, never alone trying to just keep things alive. Thank y'all.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Okay. What a gentleman. Don't you love it?
May it please the council, Mr. Chairman, my name is Leela Call. I'm a lifelong resident of the North Chattanooga neighborhood, and I'm an attorney here in town. I'm here today to speak on the John Wise matter. You might be familiar. I have submitted email communications. We have a number of neighbors here, please stand up, who are here for the matter too. Mr. Wise is proposing putting 16 or more townhomes into an already extremely steep slope, kind of like what we have here, between Tremont and Tucker Street in North Chattanooga. There are a number of neighbors who oppose his rezoning request for matters of safety and density and the fact that it doesn't fit the overall character of the neighborhood. And I would like to briefly speak on the safety matter. I invite each of you, if you have a chance, it's not far from here, to drive up Tucker Street, which is a one-way on a blind curve. You will see that the street is very narrow compared to the size of a normal city street. As proposed now, the number of condos that Mr. Wise is putting on Tucker Street will front Tucker Street. He has said that, well, we'll put up no parking signs, but as you are aware, those are extremely difficult to enforce, and enforcement would fall on us, the neighbors, calling the police on people who would be blocking the street if they park there. That pits neighbor against neighbor, and that's just not how our neighborhood operates. As far as the density standpoint and the character with the neighborhood, that entire area, as you well know and you might come see, is mostly single-family homes. And so the structures that he's proposing, 16-plus attached structures of 3 stories, just truly don't fit the character of the neighborhood or the density. I know that Mr. Wise has the resources to build something that keeps in character with the neighborhood, something that is nicer, something that perhaps has an entrance on Tremont Street, which is a much bigger two-way street. I ask that next week, when you do vote on this matter, that you please take into consideration the written and oral communications of various people in the neighborhood. We do pay some of the highest property tax in the city, and we want something nice there. I know that you can't just say, no development, not in my backyard, but I do think that you can do it responsibly, especially when we're talking about decimating an already very steep slope. So I appreciate your consideration, and I would ask that you next week vote no on abandoning the alleyway. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Doug Eckert. I live at 144 North Crest, and I have already called or emailed all of you about the issue that Councilman Byrd brought up again just a minute ago about the mailing that went out that appeared to be from the city of Chattanooga, but in fact was not. And since I had started my investigation into this, the city attorney has found out that there is a state law that allows the mayor to effectively sell the use of the Great Seal of the city of Chattanooga to be used by third-party companies. So I think that what is still needed is some notice to you. I think that as council, it is totally within your wheelhouse to manage the contract process and to not be surprised by angry phone calls or emails from your constituents that say, what is this that I just got that appears to be from the city of Chattanooga asking to sell me insurance on my sewer line? And so I think in that regard that there needs to be something done yet that would make sure that you get notification when the city seal has been so included in a contract, and that you get notification, you get the chance to review, just as the mayor's office gets the chance to review the material before it goes out to your constituents, that you get a chance to look at that, and that you get 2 weeks to look at that. So I'm going to continue to ask, work through my representative, Council Lady Coonrod, to see if we can have something like that added, because it's been shown that without that, we can probably expect that this will happen again. In the meantime, if you have obtained a promise from the mayor's office not to send out anything else without showing it to you first, and I'm not sure that's what was said. I know that that was said for now, but that would be good to have that at least going forward. I don't agree with the process of allowing the city seal to be sold. I've got a lot of experience that says that's a poor thing to do. You can look at Subway and Jared if you want to as an example of where you don't want to be as a administration, but if that's what's going to be done, then I feel like at the very least that you deserve notification, number one, that it's been done, and number two, the chance to review the material before it goes to your constituents and potentially confuses them.
Thank you.
Good evening, council members.
Good evening.
I want to thank you guys. I've never been to this before, and I'm blown away by how much work goes in this, and I want to thank you. as a citizen of Chattanooga. So I'm here to speak. My friend Leela spoke very elaborately and very eloquently about the problem we're facing on Tucker Street and Tremont with the John Wise development. I'm not going to touch more. I mean, she pretty much told everything, but I do want to reiterate and extend an invitation again. I live on Tucker Street on that part, which is the one-way, and I've lived there 7 years. And then I see every day firsthand how people come flying down that one-way street, and we're not able to control that. People don't see the signs. And I've called the non-emergency police number, and they've told me that there's no way they can stop that unless they post an officer down there. So I feel like, again, that it falls up to us to make sure that we're safe, because we have our children and people walking down, people with headphones listening to music, jogging down the road, and then it's just a matter of safety again. And coming back to there's absolutely no place for, I think, for what he's proposing, for the cars that are going to be parked there. And it's going to be, I feel like all that builders and developers do is they build it and they sell it, and then they move on, and then we're facing the repercussions. People who buy the house and people who are living around, we face the bad planning. And so, again, I'm, like Leela said, I want to implore you guys to just vote no on the easement. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello there. I am also here to speak on the John Wise development. My name is Candler Lloyd, and my address is 333 Tucker Street. I live directly across the street from the proposed development. I recently moved to Chattanooga from my hometown of Atlanta. Ironically, I chose to leave a beautiful in-town old historic neighborhood there because the developers had ruined the quality of life in Atlanta by overdeveloping areas that never should have been touched. I chose the North Shore because it has the same historic in-town vibe as the neighborhood I left. When I bought my brand new beautiful home, it never occurred to me that the cliff in front of my property could be used as a building site, and even more surprising, for a row of 12 condos. Chattanooga is without a doubt one of the most promising, fun, interesting places in the South to live. However, with developers like John Wise, who in this case is asking to come into a single family setting and completely change the density and character of our neighborhood, Chattanooga will quickly follow in the footsteps of Atlanta and Nashville. I know that's not the future you envision for our amazing city, and you have the ability to slow this project down and require Mr. Wise to come up with a plan that reflects the charming neighborhood his current plan will completely destroy. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there any, oh, yeah. I figured y'all was a crew there. It's okay, the mic is yours.
My name's Ashley Baker. I live at 411 Tucker Street. I've emailed with Mr. Mitchell a few times. Just to sort of reiterate what they've all said, I've lived on Tucker Street for about 4 years now. I think unless you really see the street, it's really difficult to understand. It's already a really dangerous street. It's one way. There's a blind curve. People walk on it, bike on it daily. I've almost been hit head on several times by cars going the wrong way, either people who aren't familiar with the neighborhood or sometimes, sadly, people who are and just don't care. I've almost hit cars that have just been parked there. I've had to sit and wait for 10, 15 minutes sometimes to get around other cars who are parked there, workmen who are parked there, et cetera. So I'm really just concerned about the safety. I have 3 small children. We do use this road to walk as best we can, sometimes if we're walking down to Coolidge Park or to get ice cream. It's already a dangerous road. It's fine the way that it is, but if you add, I think he wants to do 9 townhomes with access from Tucker Street right now, adding that density of people, that many more people, however many people are going to live in each of those townhomes, you add friends coming over, delivery people, so on and so forth. It's just not safe. And again, I understand development is a fact of life, but I don't even really have that much of a problem with like the difference in the character. I'm just really concerned about the safety. I just don't think you can add that many more people and potential people that come along with a new development on this road. I just don't. I think it's going to be a nightmare, and it will make me reconsider living where I live if it goes through. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak to the council about non-agenda items? If not, what is your pleasure, council? We are now adjourned. Have a good week.